Alright, welcome to today's lesson on binary math. Today we're going to be expanding on the binary number system we talked about yesterday so we can actually start to figure out how a computer can perform calculations using just zeros and ones. So we'll start with addition. And just like yesterday when we started with decimal numbers, we need to do the same thing today. To understand how to do addition in binary math, we need to first remember how we did it in decimal numbers. So we take a look at an example where we're going to add 12 plus 28. If we want to do this kind of adding, we always start in the right-handmost ones column. We take those two digits and we add them together. So 8 plus 2 in this case is 10. Because we have two digits, I'm going to take the smallest significant digit and put it underneath the ones column, and I'm going to carry the 1 in the tens column over to the next column. I can then start to add the next column in the same manner. So 2 plus 1 is 4, and I can put that digit down below. So that gives me the answer of 12 plus 28 is 40. Binary addition occurs in the same way, but remember, we only have two digits. So we're going to memorize some of the results of adding some small numbers together. Obviously 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, but remember we don't have a 2 in binary, so 1 plus 1 is actually 1, 0. 1 plus 1 is 3, or in binary, 1, 1. So once you have those memorized, it becomes much easier to perform binary addition. So we're going to add the values 1101 plus 1001. So again, we're going to start in the right-handmost ones column, adding those two digits together. And remember, 1 plus 1 is 2, but in binary, it is a 0, carry the 1. So I'm going to put down the 0, and I'm going to carry the 1 over to the next column. I add the 2's column next. 1 plus 0 is 1. So in this case, I only have one digit, so I can just write it down below. I move on to the next column. 1 plus 0 is 1. Write it down. And in the final column, 1 plus 1 is 1, 0. So I write down the 0, carry the 1. So there's nothing else to add it to. I just write it down below. So in this case, 1101 is plus 1001 is going to equal 10110. So now what I want you to do is pause the video, try these 4 addition problems. If you want to check to see if they're correct, you can either convert the values into decimal and check to make sure that they add up properly, or you can press play and check out the answers. So these are the answers to these simple addition questions. Hopefully you got the correct answer. If not, check with me tomorrow in class and we'll correct any errors that you've got. But in the meantime, we also want to figure out how to do subtraction in binary. Subtraction in binary can be performed in the same way as addition in binary if we use a rule that is common in the decimal system. So if we take a look at 7 minus 5 is equal to 2, it's the exact same thing as saying 7 plus negative 5 is 2. So I can perform my subtractions by simply adding a negative number. Now all we need to know is how do we represent a negative number in binary? Well, this is easy to do in decimal system because I can use a negative symbol, but unfortunately in binary, if you remember, we only have zeros and ones. There's no such thing as a negative symbol. So how am I going to do this? How am I going to represent something being negative if I can't show a negative symbol? Well, the answer is I'm going to have an extra bit out in front of my number that I'm going to use to represent a positive or negative value. So 0 is going to mean that my entire number is positive, and 1 is going to represent that my entire number is negative. But before you can assign this extra digit, you first have to tell the computer what the maximum number of digits you're going to be using in your mathematical calculations. So for example, if I was going to try and figure out the number 7 in decimal, it's going to be 111, 3 digits long. So if I know I'm going to work with 3 digits, I'm going to add in an extra digit in front as my negative value. So if I want to show the number negative 7, there's my 3-digit maximum with my plus minus symbol out in front. Because I'm showing a negative number, it's a 1, it's a negative 7. And if I work it out, it's easy to figure out with math. I've got a 1 in the ones column, 0 in the twos column, 0 in the fours column, and 1 in the negative 8's column. So I can work this out saying negative 1 times 8 is negative 8, plus 0 plus 0 plus 1. Negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7. So this actually will calculate out to the negative 7 value that I was trying to figure out. But is there an easier way to figure out the remaining digits? Well, we can do that by calculating the 2's complement of a positive number. You do this by reversing all the 1's and 0's in the original positive number, including the leftmost sign digit as well. Then I add 1 to that value, and bada boom bada bing, you have your negative number. So example, again the same thing here, I want to get negative 7. So 7 is 0, 1, 1, 1. Remember, I have to have this extra digit out in front because it represents my positive negative value. So that's number 7. If I want to get the negative value of negative 7, I reverse everything. Everything that was a 1 is now a 0. So 1 becomes a 0, 1 becomes a 0, 1 becomes a 0, 0 becomes a 1. Step 2 was to add 1 to that, and there is my negative 7, same as we had before. Negative 8 plus 1, total negative 7. So now we go back to our original problem. How can I do subtraction? Because now I know how to show a negative number. So what I'm going to do is 7 plus negative 5 is equal to 2. So first we have to figure out how many digits are we going to use. In this case, we know 7 is 3 numerical digits, and I'm going to have 1 sign digit representing the positive or negative. So I'm going to convert my numbers to binary. 7 is 0, 1, 1, 1. 5 is 0, 1, 0, 1. So if I want to figure out negative 5, again I'm going to switch them. So 1 becomes a 0, 0 becomes a 1, 1 becomes a 0, 0 becomes a 1, add 1 to the value, that's negative 5. So now I have 7 and I have negative 5. I can add them up. 1 plus 1 is 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 1, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 0, carry the 1, and there is our answer. Now remember, we said we were only going to have 4 bits in our answer, 3 numerical and 1 sign. So we're going to discard that extra digit. I can ignore this digit because it wasn't part of my original value, so I'm going to end up with 0, 0, 1, 0. And if I convert that into binary, 1, 0 is the number 2, so we can figure out that 7 minus 5 is in fact 2. Try these digits at home, try these ones at home. Pause the video, and when you think you got your answers, start the video again to check it out. So here's the answers in binary. That's it for today. Hopefully you learned a little something, and we'll see you in class tomorrow where we can take up and practice what we've learned.